These are 20 traditional energy-saving techniques your grandparents used that modern homeowners have forgotten. Methods so effective they could slash your electricity bill by hundreds of dollars, yet so misunderstood they've been dismissed as outdated folklore. What our ancestors knew about harnessing natural forces and conserving energy reveals lost wisdom that's more relevant today than ever before. Back in 1841, Alexander Bain buried copper and zinc plates in Scottish soil, 1 meter apart, and powered a clock with nothing more than Earth's natural electrical potential. This wasn't magic. It was science that your great-great-grandparents understood intuitively. They lived in harmony with natural energy cycles because they had to. Before electric grids transformed how we heat, cool, and power our homes, survival depended on reading the environment and working with it, not against it. Today, with the average American electricity bill exceeding $1,200 annually and rates climbing 21% since 2020, these forgotten techniques offer more than nostalgia. They provide genuine savings. The Greeks considered anyone who didn't use passive solar heating a barbarian, and perhaps they had a point. Let's start with the foundation of your grandparents' energy wisdom: the house itself as a solar collector. They understood that south-facing windows could capture and store winter heat in thermal mass. Concrete, brick, stone, or tile floors absorbed sunshine during the day and released warmth at night. Strategic window placement created cross-ventilation that cooled homes without air conditioning, using high pressure on the windward side and low pressure on the leeward side to pull hot air out naturally. Your grandmother's curtain ritual wasn't just housekeeping, it was energy management. She opened drapes during cold winter days to invite solar gain, then closed them at night to trap warmth. In summer, she did the opposite, keeping curtains drawn during the day and opening windows after sunset. This simple practice could reduce heating and cooling costs by 15 to 20%. The strategic tree planting around old farmhouses tells a story of long-term energy planning. Deciduous trees planted south of the building blocked summer heat but allowed winter sun through bare branches. Evergreens on the north side created windbreaks against cold winter air. These weren't random landscaping choices. They were carefully calculated energy systems that lasted generations. Even architectural details carried energy wisdom. Roof overhangs were precisely calculated to block high summer sun while admitting low winter rays. Your great-grandfather understood solar angles better than most modern homeowners, designing porches and awnings that naturally regulated indoor temperatures without consuming a single kilowatt hour. The clothesline represents perhaps the greatest energy-saving tradition we've abandoned. Household dryers consume 3% of America's residential energy budget, 6 times more than washing machines, costing homeowners over $7 billion annually. Yet fewer than 20% of Americans regularly air-dry clothes, compared to 68% in the UK and France. Your grandmother also knew that 90% of a washing machine's energy goes to heating water. She washed in cold water and lowered the water heater to 120 degrees, 20 degrees below most factory settings. This single adjustment saves hundreds of dollars annually. Did your grandparents hang laundry outside, or did they have other energy tricks around the house that you still remember? Drop it in the comments below. We love to read your memories. The fireplace wasn't just for ambience. It was a heat distribution system when properly managed. Closing the damper when not in use prevented warm air from escaping up the chimney. Modern homeowners often leave dampers open year-round, essentially maintaining a hole in their thermal envelope. Ceiling fans weren't luxury items, they were essential climate tools. Counterclockwise in summer to create cooling downdrafts, clockwise in winter to push warm air down from the ceiling. This simple direction change could reduce heating and cooling loads by 10 to 15%. The old practice of unplugging devices when not in use addresses what we now call standby power loads. Electronics that never truly turn off account for 5 to 10% of home energy use, costing $100 annually per household. Your grandparents unplugged everything because electricity was precious. The effect was the same. Refrigerator placement and maintenance followed strict rules in old kitchens. Coils were cleaned monthly, temperature was set to exactly 38 degrees, and the unit was positioned away from heat sources with adequate ventilation. Knowledge that saved money when every kilowatt hour counted. For those with technical skills, traditional methods included small-scale electricity generation that modern homeowners have forgotten. Earth batteries, using buried copper and zinc electrodes, can generate 1 to 5 volts continuously, enough to power LED lights or small sensors. While insufficient for major appliances, these systems provided essential lighting in remote locations without any ongoing costs. Wood stove. Thermoelectric generators represent another lost technology. By attaching thermoelectric modules to stove surfaces, your great-grandparents generated electricity while heating their homes. Modern versions can produce up to 15 watts continuously during the heating season, enough to charge devices or power emergency communications. The integral passive solar water heater, essentially a discarded electric water heater tank in an insulated plywood box topped with glass, could reach 120 to 150 degrees on sunny days. Basic carpentry skills and scavenged materials, yet hot water without ongoing energy costs for decades. Wind generation using car alternators and GM fan assemblies created modest electrical output for battery charging. These DIY versions could be built for under $1,000 and provided enough power for basic needs in windy locations. Micro-hydro systems, where water sources permitted, represented the most reliable renewable energy available to rural families. A simple water wheel or turbine connected to a generator could provide continuous power as long as water flowed, requiring no fuel and minimal maintenance once properly installed. Think about the house you grew up in. Was there a wood stove, a hand-dug well, a wind setup on the property? Tell us about it in the comments. These stories are exactly the kind of history worth preserving. The efficiency habits your grandparents practiced extended to every appliance interaction. They ran consecutive dryer loads to utilize residual heat, planned cooking to use oven warmth for multiple dishes, and timed high-energy activities for optimal conditions. These were not inconveniences. They were systems that reduced waste through careful planning. What makes these traditional methods particularly relevant today is their integration with natural cycles rather than opposition to them. Your grandparents didn't fight the environment, they partnered with it. They understood that true energy security came from reducing consumption, not just generating more power. These 20 forgotten tricks represent more than energy savings. They're a blueprint for resilient living that modern technology has obscured but not obsoleted. In an era of grid instability and rising costs, perhaps it's time to remember what our grandparents knew. The most reliable energy is the energy you don't need to buy. If you love stories like this, the wisdom, the ingenuity, and the everyday lives of the people who built this country, subscribe to Vintage America Tales. We post new videos twice a week, and there's always another piece of forgotten history worth remembering.